Hi planty people. So I had a few things that needed to get repotted and I figured it was a good time to talk to you about different kinds of pots. I obviously have a selection here. I'm convinced that collecting plants and collecting pots are two different hobbies, but I have all of these pots that are just sitting empty. And part of it is, a plant outgrows a pot, so you hold on to the pot when you up-pot it, and it doesn't necessarily have a new occupant right away. It happens, it's cool. But that's how you end up with a collection of plants and a collection of pots. Or you're like me and you go to the thrift store and you go through the pot aisle as a matter of habit. I don't think I've ever paid more than $5 for a pot, and that's exactly how I do it. I go to the thrift store, I look around, probably at least 3/4 of this table came from the thrift store for less than $5. The others were either given to me or came with a plant, or some of them I actually straight up found in the garbage. But you can also find people giving them away a lot of the time on Buy Nothing groups or Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist. So there's lots of ways to get pots inexpensively, even really cute pots. So pots come basically two ways, with drainage and without drainage. With drainage, you get stuff like your typical nursery pot. Okay, we call it a nursery pot because that's usually what your plants come in when you buy them, right? They're used by nurseries, greenhouses, etc. Nursery pot. Has holes in the bottom for the water to drain out. It's made of plastic. Some are more durable than others. They come in different sizes. This is a 4-inch-ish, yeah, made in Canada. Or they'll come larger. This is a 6-inch pot. Again, holes on the bottom, really simple. This is a good example of there's different kind of qualities of plastic. Like this one is really, really flexible, really thin. And this one's a little more sturdy, a little thicker. You'll also see them like this. This one came off of an orchid. It's clear so you can see the roots and know when to water it. Also, drainage at the bottom. It's very flexible. This isn't necessarily a great one to keep an orchid in long term because the roots like to breathe. So you'll see some with slits in the sides too. Those are much better if you're going to leave it in the long term, but orchid care, whole other discussion. You'll also find them in a few different shapes. You can also get them square instead of round. Besides nursery pots, you'll also find various ceramic pots that come with drainage in them. You'll find terracotta is a very common one to find, drainage in the bottom. These are great for a plant that doesn't like to stay really, really moist because you'll also get the terracotta, when it's unglazed, breathes. So you'll get some moisture transfer through the actual pot. Let's see, you also have, like this one is a glazed terracotta, less moisture transfer back and forth. So it's more attractive for a lot of people. Some people don't like the feel of terracotta. I'm one of them, so I like mine glazed. I'm not too picky about the moisture transfer, honestly, but I'll get to that later. Again, hole in the bottom, drainage. You'll also find them where they have an attached dish for the drainage. You can see there's a hole in this one, but it drains right into this. I don't really like those very much because you can't take the bottom part off to dump it. You have to like tip the whole pot to dump off any excess. Let's see, what else? Oh, you'll find plastic ones that are like that too, where they have the attached bottom piece. And sometimes those will pop right off if you don't like it that way. Yeah, this one pops right off. And then it does have the little raised feet on the bottom. You can see holes. And then it has raised feet on the bottom so that it doesn't sit in the wet even when you have this attached. But if you don't like it, you can just use the pot just like that. And it's got the raised feet so the water drains away and goes. You'll also see self-watering pots where you're meant to use that bottom part as a reservoir. And I don't have any here, but I do have one on a plant that's nearby. Hold on. Alright, so this one, which I'm using as a cash pot because I'm weird like that. But this one, you can see in the bottom, there's kind of a grid. Let me put that closer, maybe you can see a little better. There's sort of a grid in there to let the water drain and to come up as well. And there's this little hole right here where you would pour the water in and let it bottom water the plant. I don't really do that. I use it basically just for drainage. I come along and I pour the water right back out that little spout. Okay, so plant pots without drainage, again, come in a wide variety. You will occasionally see a terracotta pot without drainage, but I don't know, those are weird. Now, that said, you can add drainage to most pots. You just have to be willing to drill the hole or punch the hole depending on what material it is. And a lot of nurseries will actually do that for you. Not so much if you go to like Home Depot, Lowe's, etc. to get your plants, but if you go to a small local nursery, a lot of them will offer that service either for free or for a nominal fee. But anyway, pots without drainage, they come in lots of shapes and things that aren't technically pots also. So this one is actually for a floral arrangement. It's technically a vase, but look how cool that is. I'm going to use it for a pot. It's square, which, you know, kind of a funky thing for a pot, but this one, which I bought specifically for a plant I didn't end up putting in it. So it's just been added to the collection. You know how it goes. But no drainage, no holes. So what you would do with one of these is you could use it as a cache pot, meaning that what you would do is you would pot, where'd my nursery pots go? You would take whatever plant in your nursery pot and then you would just set it inside the pot. Okay, and that way you can still pull it out and be able to dump off the extra water, or, you know, just leave it. What else you can do, you can, if you have a plant that really likes humidity a lot, if you use something that's a little extra big, like this is a much smaller pot than this one, you have a little extra room in there, so you can put a layer of stones in the bottom and then put this pot on top. And then any extra water you dump, as long as it's not, you know, above the layer of the stones, you can basically use it as a humidity tray. Oh, I actually forgot a drainage one because I have too many pots. I didn't see it. You can also get them where they come as a set, where they have like a matching drainage dish, and it just sits in there. Look how cute that is. This one actually is really cool because it came in a set of 3 like small, medium, large pots. They're all exactly the same, so that you can either keep the next 2 sizes for when your plant outgrows this one, or you can just use them all and then be like, oh crap, I don't have any for when it gets bigger. Anyway, back to the no drainage. So if you use it as a cache pot, you're going to want to make sure that you're still taking your inside pot out to water. You can either take the pot out, water it somewhere else, put it back, or you can water it in place and then make sure that you dump off the extra. Now, I do something that is kind of a little half-assed and controversial among plant owners, and I will pot things directly into a pot with no drainage. I know some of you are clutching your pearls at this point, you've turned it off, whatever, but if you're still with me, let me tell you how I make that work. You just have to be more careful about your watering, okay? Don't soak the plant every single time, unless it's into that. You could probably get away with that with like peace lilies. But you want to give a plant less water more often if you're going to do that, okay? And by doing that, you're going to still avoid the root rot. I have plants that have been in pots with no drainage for years at this point and are perfectly happy because I'm careful about my watering. The best way to make sure that you're being careful about your watering is to determine whether it needs to be watered or not by lifting the pot. Don't trust your finger stuck in the soil. Don't trust the moisture meters. Just pick the pot up, okay? You'll notice immediately if it's light when you pick it up, the plant needs water. If it's really heavy, you probably overwatered it a little bit and you need to wait. You can also get things that are not technically pots and put plants in them. Like I was just talking about, this is a vase. And I'm gonna pot something in it straight up, probably with no drainage, just so you know. You can also put plants in teacups. This one I didn't, whoops, dirt. Oh well, let's just dump that out. This one I didn't drill a hole in, so it is again a, drainage-less pot. But you can do things like you can still use it as a cash pot. This nursery pot would be a little bit tall for this. So what I would do if I was going to use this one is I would just snip the top off of it. Nobody's gonna know. You can also, drill a hole in the bottom of it. And teacups are cool like that because they come in like a matching drainage tray if you're gonna do that. And it's just really cute. I like oddball pots sometimes. So, like this one. Oh gosh. This one I picked up at the thrift store. You can tell it was a hanging pot at one point. It has holes already in it for it to be like held up by either wires or like rope from a macrame hanger. So I'm still contemplating the future life of this one because it didn't work for the thing I thought it was going to work for, so it went in the collection. You'll see there's a bunch of different shapes here. And I should probably talk about the shapes. There's square ones. There's round ones. There's some that are tall. I don't even know. And this one. There's some that are more tall. And there's some that are more short and fat. Okay? A lot of that is going to be personal preference. But there are some plants that really prefer something shallow. Okay, this is a bonsai tray, but you can also use it for plants that have more of a creeping habit. I actually intend to plant a jewel orchid in this one. I have a Ludisia dicolor that keeps making babies, and I'm going to put some of the babies in this because it tends to kind of, does more of a creep. It doesn't want to grow up, it wants to grow out. So short, shallow things for things that have shallow root systems like that are perfect because they're not really going to use the bottom of the pot for their roots anyway. Yeah, other things that are technically not pots that I really love. I had a succulent in this at one point, and then I left it by a window that had a bad draft and it got cold and died. So that was the end of my succulents. I'm just not a succulent person. But you can use metal for plants. It's fine. It really is. It's very rare for something to actually acquire a metal toxicity because the metals are generally micronutrients. They don't need a lot of them in the first place, and they don't take them up very easily. If you are nervous about doing something like that, you can always line it with a plastic. But this one, again, very cute. Not technically a pot, but used for one. One of my favorite pot hacks, actually, is if you need a big one, like a 10-inch pot or something, buy a trash can. I'm not even kidding. Like, go to like Target or someplace and look for like the cheap plastic trash cans. You can always spray paint it with like that stone texture stuff if you want. But you'll spend like $10 on a pot that if you bought it as a pot would be like 30 or 40 at a lot of places. So keep that in mind. Another kind of cool thing that you can do is you can pot things in glass. Now I have a few different bowls. You can either make like a mini terrarium with little things kind of halfway up, and then it traps the humidity in the top a little better, but it still breathes through the top. So you can do stuff like that, make a little mini landscape. Very cute. Or you can plant things that, oh, come on. There we go. You'll see some other ones. Oh gosh, this one still has the price tags on it from the thrift store, but what was it? It was $3.99, but I'm pretty sure I bought it half off, so yeah, cheap pots. This one is designed so that you could have something spill out of it, is how it's supposed to go, or you can kind of use it to accent whatever you plant in the further back. Very cool. That gets into the aesthetics of pots, though, and that is all going to be personal choice of what's more important to you, is the function or the form. And there's a lot of ways that you can balance that out, but there are pots for everyone, for every plant. You just have to look around. The glass things are becoming very popular. Let me show you one that I've put in glass. Okay, this is a Parasyngonium, and I put this one in glass, and you will see no drainage. It doesn't care. It's perfectly happy. It's a little bit cold right now because I had the window open the other day, so that's why you've got like some of this junk. But you get a very nice like naturally sort of look. You put some moss in there, some rocks, and it's really cool to kind of be able to see all that going on. It's an aesthetic. So that about covers it for different types of pots and what they're good for and how to make use of them. If you have any questions, go ahead and throw it in the comments section or send me a DM on Instagram. I'll have that linked below, and you can also find it on the channel homepage. If you feel like I was wrong about something, go ahead and leave me a comment or send me a message about that too. I am happy to argue with you about it. But seriously, anything you want to talk to me about plants, please do it. I love geeking out over plants with people. Thanks for watching. Happy planting. I have too many pots. I really do. Gosh, why can't I? Words are hard.